We're back out and about again. It's an amazing day. The days are definitely getting warmer, and today we're looking at dwarf tomato plants, and this one is a Tumbling Tom red. You can also get these in a yellow variety as well, and they're basically a dwarf plant, which means they're determinate. They only grow to a certain height, they set all the fruit, and then you harvest them, and then that plant is done. But you'd be surprised at how many tomatoes, or should I say cherry tomatoes, you'll get from one plant. I noticed a few yellowing leaves on the bottom of this plant, so I'm just going to pinch those off. They're no good. It's always a good idea to tidy your plants up. So this particular plant you can put in a small container like that, or even an hanging basket, and they will trail down the side of your hanging baskets, so really easy to pick those amazing fruits once they're ready. Also, something that's worth knowing with these plants, you'll notice that on all your tomato plants you get what we call suckers, little side shoots that come between main branches. And on an indeterminate plant, which means a full-size vining tomato plant, you take those off, otherwise the plant just goes crazy. You basically end up with more foliage than you do tomatoes if you're not careful. So you have to keep picking these off all the way through season, because they will continuously keep coming back. But when it comes to your dwarf tomato plants, you need to leave those on. The more branches that you get from these little plants, the better, because you're going to get more fruit. So when you see these little side shoots on these particular plants, leave them on. Also, sometimes your tomato plants can get a little bit leggy. This happens more often than not in your full-size tomato plants, but it's an easy fix. If you look on the stems of your tomato plants, you'll see what looks like little hairs. So what you can do is take off the bottom leaves if you've got quite a stretched plant, and then you can plant it a lot deeper, and those hairs will become roots, so you'll end up with a stronger root system and a more compact, stable plant as well. You don't usually find it on dwarf tomato plants, so they usually grow quite well, but you never know. If you've had poor light, they can also stretch, but that is an easy way to fix it. So basically today we're going to get this planted. I've only got one at the moment, but I'm going to get a few more as well, and I might even try some of those yellow varieties. So if you want a small space, high yielding tomato plant, get a Tumbling Tom. Amazing little cherry tomatoes. So I'm going to put it in this container, and it's also worth knowing that when you plant these little plants, make sure that your container is at least 12 to 14 inches wide and also 8 to 10 inches deep. If you restrict that root system, you're going to get a smaller plant and less fruit. So it's worth going for a size like this, or the same if it's an hanging basket. And also make sure you've got lots of drainage holes in bottom as well. Very important. We've drilled a few extra in bottom of this one. And as far as your compost goes, just normal multi-purpose compost is perfectly fine. You can add a little bit of fish blood and bone, or bone meal if you want. And once it starts producing flowers, then you can add tomato feed. And you want to do that every 14 days. And that will ensure that you get lots of produce from that little plant. And I'm using this type of compost. I have been asked by quite a few people what type it is, and it's called Durston's. I think I might have told somebody it was actually Dunstan's, but it's not. It's Durston's, and it's quite cheap. I get these from Garden Centre, and I get 3 50-litre bags for £15, so I think that is a good deal. So we're going to get the compost in, we'll get this planted, and then we'll have a look at what else is going on in this container garden. So we'll just get this compost in, so if we've got enough. If not, we've got plenty more. Just breaking up any lumps that I see. You don't need to sieve your compost when it comes to plants like this, but it is a good idea to remove any large stones or pieces of wood. And I think we've got about enough there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant it. and then I might just bury it very slightly, or I could just top it up with extra compost. That's going to guarantee a nice strong healthy plant. So as I always do, same size container as the plant's in, and just make that hole. And if you want to, you can make it that little bit deeper. And then we'll take out this plant, and you can see that it's got plenty of roots, but it's not tangled on bottom, so that can basically just go straight in, and we'll get it centered at the same time. So very easy, straight in there. We'll firm it down a little bit as well, and as this plant grows I'm going to top it up a little bit, as I said earlier. And your job doesn't get much simpler than this. That's your tomato plant, all done. And just for reference, as I said, it's the Tumbling Tom Red, and we'll stick as labelling so we know which one we've planted. And this compost is quite dry, so I am going to give it a good watering. That'll keep it going for a while. So it doesn't get any quicker or simpler than that. And that's his first cherry tomato plant on its way. And we always save the pots as well, because we could recycle them as we go through the season. What I would do is I would put that in a propagator or a greenhouse if you've got one. It's almost May, but you can still get frosts. So just to ensure that this plant doesn't get any damage, if you have got a propagator, pop it in a propagator, leave it in your greenhouse or a conservatory, and then you know this plant is going to thrive. But because they're dwarf tomato plants and they're in small containers, you could also keep that indoors if you wanted, just until you've passed your last frost date. And these plants grow up to 24 inches in height, so round about that size, but they will cascade as well. So having got that job done, let's take a look at what else is going on in this container garden. These are some of the more recent plantings. That's that little gem lettuce, and as you can see it's doing perfectly fine, but also that mixed salad leaf has grown even more, and we have got a couple of decent sized spinach now, and I've noticed there's a few more trying to germinate, so maybe it was just a late germination for those, but they're on the way. And then of course there's beetroot, which we're growing for salad leaves. So everything in this container is doing really well. And if you remember, we also potted on these two apple trees, and look at all the blossom that's on them now. They look amazing. And that one has got even more. So we're well on his way to getting some apples this season. And that's the reason I put them in these bigger containers, to give them more root space. We have, however, had to move quite a lot of things from front of this container garden, and that's because I've got the new decking on its way. And it's going to be a big one as well. And I can't wait to get that in place, and we'll get some plants on there and some balcony pots as well. But this is a second container. As you remember, we put onions and carrots together, and the carrots are doing really well. They've put on even more size in just a few days, and those onions are holding their own as well. Also, that golden raspberry bush is now full of leaf, which is brilliant, and I can see that we're starting to get a little bit of budding on it, so we're definitely going to be getting some golden raspberries. And that is the progress of those carrots that we're growing from seed. As you can see, again, in a few days they have put quite a lot more growth on, and these are virtually ready for planting as well. And there is purple spring onions, so we'll get them sorted out as soon as possible. But also we've got some more peppers, and I have left these outside to see how they get on. We grew those from seed as well, and they were from store-bought peppers. They seem to be doing okay, but they do grow quite slow. And lastly, a quick update on those container peas that we're growing. As you can see, they're slowly starting to work their way up that trellis. So So as you've just seen, all's good in this container garden. We've not got loads of things on go at the moment, but we're now approaching that time of year where we can start and plant more and more. As soon as we hit May, we've passed our last frost date, so we can plant as many things as we want. But as you saw at the moment, we've had to clear quite a few things to one side, waiting for that decking to come. And that decking is going to be 37 foot long and 8 foot wide. So we're going to be able to get quite a lot of things on there, and I can't wait till it's in place. And if you want to see it when it's all finished, pop over to his caravan channel, because I'll be making a video as soon as that work starts. Anyway, thank you so much for being on board. I hope you did really well with everything that you plant this year. And if you want to see what we do next, please hit that subscribe button and press that notifications bell. And I'll see you very soon. Take care.